Hey guys, it's Samantha Jade here. I'm about to go back to school with Student Edge.
Hi, I'm Simon Murado, and today we're going back to school with Samantha Jade. Sammy, thanks so much.
Ah, thank you for having me.
Well, tell me, what were you like as a student?
I was a pretty good student actually. I enjoyed school. I feel like you don't know how great school is until you leave.
Right.
And then don't get to see your friends every day in the same place and you're forced to be together. I think that's it's actually really amazing.
Sure, all the things you complain about kind of fade away, and then you go, oh wow, we had all that free time, really.
Exactly.
Well, what were the subjects you liked?
I loved English and I loved drama. So English for me, I loved writing. I've always loved writing, so that was one of my faves. And then drama was great because we would act out different scenarios and do the school play every year, which was so exciting.
Sure, and what were the subjects that you kind of maybe not struggled with, but just couldn't connect with?
I could not connect with science. I just wasn't a science person, and maths I just wasn't strong at. So when algebra came up, I was like out.
Sure.
I'm not good at maths.
Well, so I understand that you kind of got into performing at a fairly young age, modelling and performing. Did you find that, you had drama obviously, but was school like the right place to kind of practice your talents, or were you kind of looking elsewhere for that?
I was looking elsewhere to a certain degree, but I was lucky. I went to a specialist dance school. So dance was one of our subjects. So I actually did dance 3 times a week, 4 times a week. So I was lucky. But with singing, that was something I definitely kind of struggled with at school because I was always singing, doing my work, singing. People were like, oh, shut up. So that was something I knew I had to leave for.
Yeah. What is it like to study dance 4 times a week as part of your schooling? Because obviously that's a fairly unique experience.
It's actually weird because you're going from a classroom, where you're like doing, a classroom where it's work and studious and all that, and then you're going to this creative dance space. So it is a little bit different. It does take a minute to adjust, but I was always so excited about doing dance and doing the school play and drama. I was always that side, for me.
What were the plays that you participated in?
I was in Sweet Charity, and I was in Anything Goes, and My Favourite Year. Those are the 3.
They're good ones.
They're good plays.
They're good ones.
Yeah.
So tell me about leaving at 15, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. So you left school at 15 to go to LA.
I did, yeah.
What is that, first of all, what's that conversation like where you're talking with your parents and you're saying, hey...
I'm going to LA, bye.
How much is their idea? How much is you kind of going, no, I need to do this?
It was a bit, of both. They always knew. I always wanted to be a singer. I always wanted to be a performer, and they always knew that. So they weren't going, they weren't expecting me to come back home and be like, I want to be a doctor. That would have shocked them even more. So they were understanding, and they actually came with me because they were like, you are too young to go to LA on your own. We're not getting some crazy kid that turns all Hollywood on us. So they all came with me, and then my brothers did homeschooling from there, and I started working from the age of 16.
When you're 15, you're still going, oh, what do I want to be when I grow up? And you obviously had such a solid idea in your mind. But were you kind of having backup plans, or was it singing or bust?
Singing, singing was it. Singing, and if I couldn't sing, singing teaching.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I always loved music, and I've always loved kids, so that was my other thing. If I can't, be a singer and make that a career, then I would love to teach. Did
you feel like you had to sort of reprove yourself after X Factor, or does an artist just constantly have to prove themselves?
All the time these days. But I think with X Factor, it's like, it's great because you're here, right? You go from this show that's on every weekend and people know your face, and then you go, if you win, it's huge. The few months after, you just like are on cloud 9. And then it's very hard to stay there. I think that's because there's a new winner every year,
Sure.
So you're like, oh, okay, you hand your crown over every year. So staying there is the hard thing, and that's where hard work comes in.
Is that a more of a professional come down, or was there a personal come down after that?
I think both. I think, it's kind of it's a whirlwind, and I was in a different city every single day doing press and talking about, the show, and, people know you on the street. It's weird. It's a weird feeling because you become famous, which is not, to me, a drawing card. Fame was never something that I was like, oh, I want to be famous. I want people to know my music. Fame comes along with it. But that side of it, I think, is weird, and that's where the personal thing comes in.
Yeah.
Because, when people don't know you as much, if you really believe in that hype and that fame, that's when you start to kind of feel weird as a person. And that's when you need your good family to be like, that's not real.
Sure. Have you felt that like there are assumptions about you that you've kind of had to battle?
That's the hardest thing, reading things about yourself, or, you know, little keyboard warriors saying horrible things about you and you know, how you look, and you have to build up a very thick skin. You know, it is hard to read things about yourself that are untrue. And not go, no, but that's not true, you know, because how are you going to get to that person? You don't even know where they're coming from.
Sure.
So,
And it becomes a full-time job in itself, really.
yeah, and then, yeah, exactly. If you reply to one comment, you've got to reply
Yeah.
to 1,000. But Guy taught me a really good lesson, because he said that once he did retaliate and he wrote back to a hater, and then his fan wrote back to him and said, all I've ever wanted is for you to write back to me, and you chose to write back to the hater.
Right.
And he goes, you know, I gave that girl 5 minutes of my time and I didn't give the other person. So that's always stuck with me.
Is acting something you do kind of want to pivot towards or work alongside your singing? What's the kind of
Definitely.
balance you're looking to strike here?
I think that, yeah, I think I'll try and do a little bit of both. You know, obviously you've got to take time, you know, to put into all your projects. I mean, when I was doing Home and Away, I was still finishing my album and still doing shows, so I didn't sleep. For the 2 months I filmed, I literally didn't sleep. So I think you do have to give all your time to one project. I think it is hard to take both. You've got to balance it out properly.
When you look back on your teenage years and your school years, do you have any regrets about that period?
No, I don't actually. I used to think that regrets were a thing, but I don't think they're a thing anymore. I think everything's a lesson, and I think that, you know, you made that decision at that time because it was right at that time, and your journey's kind of written, you know, and you learn from those mistakes and things like that. So, yeah, no, I don't actually, and I'm glad to be where I am now. I mean, a few years ago I would have said different, but
Really?
you know, because it took me a long time to be in the public eye with my music, which is all I ever wanted, was people to hear it. But I am glad it only happened for me quite a lot later, because I appreciate it in a very different way than I would have then.
So then what's your advice to students who maybe feel like you know, they're 14, 15, but they're dead set on performance, and again, not all schools are, you know, dedicated to dance and performance. What kind of words do you have for them?
I think hard work is key and family is key. So, you know, find someone that supports you, that really wants it for you, and put your time and effort into them, and also working hard. So if you don't have a school that dedicates time, you know, go do it out of school. Go to acting lessons, go to music school, go to anything you can. I just was always working, you know, and I didn't probably, you know, party and do that as much. And I think that was a good thing, because I focused, you know, and you learn a lot, and you need that. You need to learn. You never stop learning, you know. And I think just always believe in yourself. That's key.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Sammy, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, if you enjoyed that video, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, or find more of our stuff at studentedge.com.au.